We're out here at the West Valley Fire Department at the Angel Fund, and we're out here asking people if they know who the mayor of Anthony is. So Becky Guillen, what year did you graduate?
Class of 09.
09.
09.
How long did you live in Anthony for?
So I was 24-ish, 23, 24.
When you moved out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've recently moved back, right?
Yes. That's fun.
Last month. So, do you know who the mayor of Anthony is?
Of course, it's Art Franco.
No.
He's been the mayor of Anthony for the last 100 years. So.
No.
No.
That's not the mayor.
I don't know who it is.
You want a second guess?
Second guess. Jesus. I'm sure his name says there.
Jesus?
Chewy.
No. Jesus is our Lord and Savior, but he's not the mayor of Anthony.
No. Chewy.
Chewy?
Garcia or something. Or like Hernandez or...
Okay. Oh.
Sounds like
Maybe.
a...
Wanna do
Jesus Hernandez? It sounds like a solid...
Jesus Hernandez? All right. One final guess.
Johnny.
Yeah. 2025.
Johnny 2025.
All right, we're here with another interviewee.
Yes,
High school senior Delilah Hernandez.
I'm a junior.
Junior, sorry. We'll just start all over again. Take two. All right, we're back with another interviewee. High school junior Delilah Hernandez. How are you, Delilah?
I'm good, and you?
Good. So how long have you lived in Anthony for?
I think like 4 years. We barely moved in like I think 2 years ago.
Okay, all right, so not too long.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know who the mayor of Anthony is?
No.
Take a guess.
Well, I do know Martin Lerma was the mayor. I don't know who's been the mayor since.
Martin Lerma is your final answer?
Are you? You're not right. He might be.
I could be.
He might
It
be.
looks like it. Looks I'll be running for mayor soon.
Oh, you are? Oh, that's why you asked me. I was like, why are you asking me
I'm
that?
just kidding, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we're here with Jasmine Tice, Anthony local. What year did you graduate?
10.
Class of 2010.
Yep.
So how long have you lived in Anthony for?
It depends. I moved out for a while.
Okay.
So since I was 6, and then I moved when he got stationed in Nashville again, and then moved back.
All right. So, do you know who the mayor of Anthony is?
And I forgot his name, and I follow him. No, I don't know.
You want to take a guess? Just the first name that comes
Isn't
into
it
your head.
Anthony?
The mayor of Anthony's Anthony?
I don't know his name. What
Can
is
you
it?
tell
I don't
me?
know. I really don't know.
No? Oh, okay. Final answer?
Final answer.
All right. Thank you.
What is it?
It is Anthony.
I told him.
All right, we're here with another Anthony local, Andrea Rosales.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going? What year did you graduate?
08.
08. How long have you lived in Anthony?
Well, I was born and raised. I left at 17, so 17 years.
17 years. And do you know who the mayor of Anthony is?
Honestly, right now, no.
Take a guess.
I've seen him. I don't know his name. I've seen him at the different, what are the little pop-up things at the park and all that.
Okay.
No, but I don't know.
No? What
I know who he is.
What does he look like? What would his name be?
I have no idea.
Just think of a name.
I don't know.
No.
Give me a guess. Oscar.
Oscar.
No, what is it? Tell me.
Can't tell you.
Why?
Can't tell you.
Why do you ask me a question I can't find the answer
You're
to?
gonna have to watch our next episode to find out.
I know he has a couple boys, right? A couple boys, little girl. No? Well, I've seen him around. I don't know.
All right, well, thank you for participating.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, thanks. Johnny?
All right, buddy. What's your name?
Leo.
Leo. Yeah. Leo, how long have you lived in Anthony for?
I haven't lived in Anthony.
You've never lived in Anthony?
No.
Oh, damn. Then you're really not gonna know this.
Maybe.
Where do you live?
Chaparral.
Chaparral. Okay. Well, Anthony's pretty close. Do you know the mayor of Anthony?
No.
No? Do you know the mayor of Chaparral?
No.
Do you know the mayor of anywhere?
No.
No mayors?
No.
You know the president of the United States?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Which one? Well, there is no president because they're doing the elections.
Okay. All right, thanks, bud. All right, guys, welcome back to A-Town Talk, the number one podcast in Anthony.
The only one.
The only one.
Yeah, buddy.
That's become our new little catchphrase. Today I'm joined by Booby and Raleigh, and our special guest today is the mayor of Anthony, Mr. Anthony Turner.
How do?
Well,
Welcome.
thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor?
I am well. I'm alive and kicking.
Cool. Well, that makes
All of us.
5 of us now.
Yeah.
6 of us. How many?
Yeah.
We're also joined by Sal behind the...
We're here.
Yeah, Sal's there. You can hear him. You can't see him. And Gracie, you can't hear her or see her, but she is here as well. Before we start, we just wanted to thank you for joining us today. The opportunity presented itself. We were reached out by Grace, and we've been helping her out with some of the promotion in the town. We got to talking. We got to meet you. We did a quick greet and meet before, when was it, like a week ago?
Yeah, about
A week ago. And now we're here, so thank you for joining us. Welcome to A-Town Talk.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's
Yeah.
much appreciated. Might I know which camera I'm supposed to look into?
Either.
Or just
Either one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 3 angles. Doesn't matter.
Oh wow, okay. Camera 1, 2.
Yeah.
But that one probably.
Yeah.
So
I don't even look at the camera once. We're just we
Oh,
just start
okay.
talking.
Yeah, really
and-
just conversing with
There
each
we
other.
go.
So
Yeah.
just pretend the cameras aren't here.
yeah. Not bad. You could do that. All right. Easy peasy.
All right. So we wanted to start off just by introducing you, just because, I'm going to be fully transparent here. Not too long ago, I didn't know who the mayor of Anthony was. So there's a lot of people out there that I'm sure are in the same boat. So we just wanted to get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your backstory. Where you from? How'd you end up here in Anthony?
That is an interesting one. I know it's kind of, I like to at least say that it was fate. I came to the town that was named after me, but no, the town came before I did. So, many generations ago, I was born in Germany.
Okay.
Both of my parents are military parents, so I was an army brat, so that worked out pretty easy. We moved around quite a bit. Eventually, my parents got orders to move to El Paso, and we moved to El Paso. And I fell in love, with the Chihuahuan Desert area. It's just lovely. It really is. Natural foliage. I mean, you can't beat the mountains. You can't beat the sunset or the sunrise over the mountains, one way or the other. They feel like home. I'm not sure if you guys have flown out, and then when you're flying back and you fly over the Franklins, it's like, home.
Yeah.
So,
It's amazing.
yeah,
Any time of the day when you're flying in.
exactly. I get that all the time whenever I fly back in. But, went ahead and lived in El Paso for a good while. Wanted something a little quieter, a little calmer, so moved to Anthony, which, was excellent because, it was quiet, but, it had potential for growth. But I myself didn't see a whole lot of growth happening that could have. So I just decided to run. And I figured I could do a pretty decent job with my background of kind of guiding the town into a positive direction. the rest is history. I was, voted in for the people that did vote, which I would like to, if I may, take this opportunity to tell people to vote. Please register to vote if you haven't.
See,
You hear that?
I was telling Johnny the other
Raleigh.
day, you gotta vote.
Yes, I know. We need to have a voting drive or so, So please, if you're not sure if you're registered to vote, you can go on to EP Votes and check that out. So there's a lot of different ways to find out. But nonetheless, I was voted in. I've been in since May of last year. Terms are about 2-year terms, so elections will be coming up again in May. But we'll have other factors to vote on ahead of that. So, of course, the November election's coming up. Everybody's on top of that one. But we ourselves might have a few things on the ballot for November, such as the Home Rule Charter.
Okay.
And that'll be an interesting one. I'll talk a little bit about that one in a bit.
Okay.
But so there's a lot of different things that you guys, that anybody, can change with voting. And that's a big key, because a lot of people think, I'm just one voice, but one voice can tip the scale one way or another. And it's an important thing to remember that, because if you don't use the voice, if you don't use your vote, then you just lose it completely. And then, that one voice can go the other way for the one person who did vote and everything. And if you truly want to see any type of change, that's something that you guys, anybody, really has to get involved with. So
cool. And we'll dive a little bit into some of that stuff right now. But what about interest, hobbies? What does the mayor like to do downtime? If there's any downtime for the mayor.
There's very little downtime, unfortunately. But when I do have the opportunity to relax, I am a lifelong learner. I love to study. So I will, study a lot of just about anything that I can get my hands on. Spermology is the knowing of useless facts. And so if I would say anything, I'm a spermologist, just because I know so many useless facts. You can ask, I'll just interject a random thought that has absolutely no context sometimes.
But you're great at trivia then.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Game nights. Everybody wants me on their team. But no, but for hobbies, I enjoy blacksmithing. I enjoy making jewelry, woodworking, resin art. Goodness, there's just...
What's resin art?
Doing resin projects, such as wood resin river tables.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can always Google those, and those usually turn out better than anything I've created yet. But, practice makes perfect, so I definitely try and I practice as much as possible. But no, really, leatherworking. I enjoy leatherworking. As we were discussing before, I'm a huge nerd, and really I kind of got into all those hobbies because as a child, I had an extremely active imagination. As an adult, same thing. Probably an overactive imagination, but when you imagine such wonderful and wondrous things, I always wanted to, bring them to life. And I figured, you know what, I'll just draw these things out. But then I found out I can't draw. That was a sobering reality for me. Even my stick figures look like they were drawn by 40-year-old epileptic dogs. So it's pretty bad. So I had to find other artistic avenues to bring, all the wondrous things in my head to life. And I started out with glass. And that was kind of the very first one. So it was first kind of glass sculptures from stacked glass, and then it then became blown glass. And from there, it then turned into, let me make jewelry. So the very first ring that I ever made was just about yay big. It wouldn't fit, any adult human. So actually, my daughter tried it on when she was about 6, and it fit her. So that tells you how small that ring was. So after I got the sizing right and everything like that, I started to do a little bit more, and then I'm working with precious metal clay just to try that out, and then beaded jewelry, which was actually the easier part of it to do. So, and then from there it became leatherwork, and then metalwork and woodwork, and then blacksmithing. So, yeah, that's what I do. And of course, being the lifelong learner, circling back, I usually have to read up on how to do all this stuff or watch videos on YouTube. YouTube is a wonderful, wonderful resource.
It's the best place to learn.
Exactly. It's a wonderful resource. So you can learn from others' mistakes and kind of guide away from them.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've seen videos of people doing glass stuff, and it's so satisfying to watch when they're molding it. Mm-hmm. It looks extremely dangerous because you can easily burn yourself. And
I have burn marks all throughout my body. I have a lot of cuts and nicks and scratches. Just sometimes stupidity plays a role. You drilling into metal, and it's like, okay, it's not going anywhere. Is this drill actually working? And I remember one time I just wasn't thinking about it, and I just grabbed the tip of the bit, but of course it was red hot, and it had just cooled down. It's like, it was very interesting as I got to watch my skin just kind of recede and turn black. It was like, there you go. So that was,
Have you ever been to Seattle?
No, that I have not.
There, because right next to the needlepoint or whatever, they have like a whole package deal where they have you visit the needlepoint and then like a glass art museum. So fascinating. I have like videos I could show you towards the end, maybe just like,
I'll
it's
have to
wild.
check that out. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I mean, my glass art isn't, museum worthy. I'll say.
Still, it's just fascinating to look at.
It really is, and that was something that kind of drew me to it. Working with glass, because it was amazing to watch it being shaped and molded into whatever it was that the person could imagine and fathom. That of course physics would comprehend and everything, but creation of bowls and cups and just different colorings that you can add to it, that just fascinated me.
The colors are wild.
Oh yeah, no, when you really get into it, you can do so much, and then you can roll different colored glass into the glass, so that way it's not even just varying colors. You're actually varying just some of the shapes and everything that go into it. So if you cut just a nice circular piece, and then you heat both of them and you roll it into it, and then from there you can stretch it out oblong or anything. So a lot of it is imagination, and just plays into
you
the
run with it.
Yeah.
do you have a piece of your work, whether it's glass, metal, leather, that you're proud of, like, this is my baby?
Yes, actually, I do that for just about every medium that I work in. I have a piece of jewelry, beaded, that I really like. That once you make it, you don't want to part with it. It's like, okay, and it'd be bad enough because I don't want to be a hoarder and collect everything, but it's bad enough that I have like 20 different tools everywhere. Then it's like, well, I need this, and then I need this. But I do that I have a Bowie knife I made.
Bowie knife, yeah.
Yeah. And I loved it because I used oak and black resin for the handle, and the blade came out beautifully. And
how big is it? Because usually they're pretty big.
Oh
right?
yeah. No, it's pretty massive, and it's meaty. It's a heck of a blade.
So don't attack the mayor. He's got a Bowie knife on him.
Wasn't there a show where they used to make like swords or knives? It was like blacksmiths people, and
they show it on Netflix. I just can't think of what it's called.
Yeah, they would give them like just a certain amount of they'll be like, oh, here's this wood, this metal, and they would just kind of make their own. And it was, it's interesting to see the things that they can make, and the creativity that goes behind that. Because I started thinking, I'm like, I don't think I'd be that creative to make, it takes a lot of creativity for sure.
And that's Forged in Fire.
Yeah, Forged in Fire.
That's what it's called. Yeah,
trivia guy. Yep.
Exactly. But no, yeah, and then I've watched that show. I love that show. I watch it with my kids, and they're just like, wow, and they'll come out to the forge and they'll help me out sometimes. They'll get a little bored every now and then, but they're good for a few hammer strokes. If my arm's tired, it's like, okay, beat on that for a while. Sure. Okay, perfect, we're good. So, but no, and it's just great. And for the woodworking, I made a dartboard case and everything. And of course, being a nerd, I put the Dragonborn symbol from Skyrim on the front. And then, completely went the opposite way. And on the inside, I put the Triforce. So
Nice.
yeah.
I saw your tattoo. Is that Assassin's Creed?
Yes, actually, this is henna. It's not even a permanent tattoo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We have farmers and artisans markets out and on every other Friday, and we had one this past Friday. And there's a very talented henna tattoo artist out there named Marissa, and she did an excellent job. I just pulled this up. This one is a little faded. I got this one about 2 weeks ago. But she did all this freehand. Wow. So yeah, I mean, I just told her, hey, I'd like a squirrel, a fox, and an owl, and she put it in a totem fashion, and she just freehand the whole thing, and I was like, wow,
That's dope.
yeah, I know. I mean, that was the level of artistry I was aspiring to, but nowhere close. So yeah, these are very well done. But yeah, this one's from Assassin's Creed 3. That one I like quite a bit. Holds a special bit of sway with me, I guess, if you will. Just
That's the one with Revolution, right?
Yeah, it's paired with it and everything of that nature. So
that was the last Assassin's Creed I played.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I played Odyssey. I did play Odyssey. So and Greek mythology is great as well. But no, this one just because heritage-wise, I know, of course, did the whole 23andMe and whatnot, and what is the other one? It's 23andMe and
Ancestry.
Thank you.
Ancestry.
Yeah, Ancestry, and I did those, and I have Native American, but traced back to the Mohawk. Keepers of the Eastern Door and everything of that nature. So, it was about the time that, we were doing that, and my whole family did it and everything. So it was unique. If you want a little bit of extra useless trivia, my mother loves going into the genetics side of everything, but I have ancestors that came over on the Mayflower. They were Dutch. And I am distantly related to Johnny Appleseed. So, and when I went to Fort Wayne, Indiana, about 3 years ago, that's where he's buried. So, I went to and I visited his grave. Took some selfies with him, and
Ate an apple.
Yes, indeed. So I was just about 1 weekend shy of getting there before they did the Johnny Appleseed Festival. So yeah.
I thought it was just like a nursery rhyme or like I didn't know he was a real
his
person.
Name, his name was John Chapman, and even though he himself historically didn't have any children, he did have brothers and sisters. So he's a great uncle. So yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yep, and I even have an apple tree in my backyard, and it's thriving. And I wonder why.
Did you name it Johnny?
Yes, I did actually. And I had a peach tree named Oogway, but it died. So go figure.
Kung Fu Panda.
Exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I know trivia too. So. You've been in Anthony for how long now? You said about 2 years?
3.
So? 3 years? Mm-hmm. So what's one of your favorite things about Anthony?
The people, in all honesty. The people here are very kind. I mean, I drive around. My vehicle's pretty noticeable. It's hard to miss. It's a Mini. But, those who know, those who don't even know, you can drive around and people will just wave. And I spent a lot of time growing up in a small town in Horseheads, New York, which is the equivalent of Mayberry, if you guys know anything about old TV shows. But so, I love it. Just the people, and it's such a good atmosphere, and it's so much love and care for the community itself that you can't really find that if you go outside of here. People in El Paso, they care about El Paso, but El Paso is extremely huge. So people are like, oh, yeah, I like El Paso, but just this small section I live in here within about a 3-block radius. So, Indeed, it's just it really is the people, the love, the care, and the focus on community that everybody has here.
I second that. We just did the Angel Fund this weekend for one of our good friends, Rick, and that's one thing that I also love about this town is the people and the community, and we saw it in full effect this weekend. A lot of our friends, a lot of our people that we grew up with were there, and it was really nice. And all of us here, we're from here, we went to school here, and we still talk to each other. I still have a lot of friends that I grew up with that are from this town, and we continue to keep in touch. And yeah, you don't get that anywhere else.
No.
It makes it very special.
It does, and I mean it's a good sense of close-knit community, which can be beneficial, especially when you're looking at things and you're watching out for your neighbor. That's not something that you always get. Sometimes it'll be like you don't see your neighbor for a little while, you go and you check on them. But anywhere else, it's like, why are they knocking at my door? So that good sense of small town community can be helpful, and it is something that we should enjoy.
Well, the funny thing too is it's a small community, but since I left, because I ended up going off to the military, but since I left and I've came back, it's grown so much. It's still that small community, but it's grown just so much in the last 5 to 10 years. It's just gotten so big, and there's I feel like it still has that small town feel to it, but it is growing.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is, and it's gonna grow a lot more, I can tell you. But as long as we maintain who we truly are, as long as we are Anthony, as long as we are not the furthest west point of El Paso, then we can keep our identity. We can keep our values as a small town community, but still grow. So.
Cool. And I want to touch up on that right now, with all the economic development that you haven't, planned. But I want to ask you first, what made you run for mayor in the first place?
Truthfully, I had looked at it, and like I said, I thought that there was so much potential. There was so much that could be done, but I just, from the time that I had been in here, I hadn't seen anything, because I had lived in El Paso and I would come into Anthony, of course. We all love to go to Wet and Wild, especially during the summer.
Is that the only time you came to Anthony?
Yes, actually it was. And that was the sad thing, So, I mean, it was kind of the focal point for the longest time. And really that, there's so much more to Anthony that people don't realize. Now, I love Wet and Wild. It's great, but when it became the only reason that I came here, and then this was the first place that I thought of when I was like, well, I want something a little slower than, big city life, okay, easy. It was either that or Las Cruces, right? So, but you love Texas. So that was kind of the key, and I hadn't seen as much change as there could have been. And that's where my basic, I guess if you will, my background came in, because my original background is biology and medicine, public health, but also I have an MBA. So I was like, well, you could do this and this could be done, and there's so much, and then the potential to grow it so that way it has more of an appeal rather than just, oh, okay, let me come to one center point. So I saw that the elections came up, and I was like, all right, you know what? Let me throw my hat in the ring. I figure, let me not just be somebody who sits back and says, well, I don't like the way this is being done. I don't like the way this is being done. So I went a step further than using my voice, and I put myself out there, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and see what we can do.
That's pretty bold.
It was. Yeah. It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was a big move. I never had really foreseen my life in politics whatsoever. And we think about it, and it's like, wow, this, all that, and your whole life is scrutinized and everything. And it is when you're a public figure, people watch and they look and, but, I have nothing to hide. I'm just a regular human being like anybody else,
Yeah.
So I figured, let's go ahead.
So at that point, you moved from El Paso to Anthony?
Oh, well, I had moved from El Paso to Anthony already.
Okay.
And that's when, and then, I was here for a little while, and that's when I saw the elections come up.
Okay.
So it was posted on the town's Facebook. It was posted on the town's website. And then whenever I would go to town hall to pay my water bill, it was posted on the outside there, elections. And they had the seats that were, open to run for. So.
And what are some of the qualifications to run for mayor?
Well, you need to be 18. You need to live in the jurisdiction that you want to serve in. And you need to be a citizen. That's about it.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, it helps to have an understanding of, being a public official. Working in the public sector is very different than, doing something in the private sector. I had, pretty much done everything in my life within the private sector, and it's a lot quicker in certain aspects, so you don't have to go through as many steps. But in the public sector, you do have a lot more checks and balances, which is good. You definitely should. But yeah, so I would say if somebody was thinking about getting into politics, make sure that you study up on it. Make sure that it's something that you're definitely prepared to do, because it's different. It really is different. And, just study, because that's all it really takes is, what do you want to do? How can you accomplish that? Mm-hmm. And, if politics is in your goal to do it, then, by all means do so. If not, you can easily have a voice. You can talk to your mayors. You can talk to your, elected officials, all of the council members. You can bring forth ideas. It's like, hey, I think this would be a great idea. And before just bringing an idea, it would be great to kind of give it some kind of background, some sort of credence, some kind of, framework to build off of. So, people come to me all the time and it's like, hey, I want to see a Starbucks. I want to see a Walmart. I want to see this. And it's like, okay, that's great. But, we don't exactly have the capacity to just say, business, come here.
Yeah.
They get to pick and choose those things. Now, what we can do is, make ourselves more attractive to businesses coming here. We can reach out to them. We can put together good presentations as to why a business like that should come here. But ultimately, we can't just tell them to, hey, come here.
You're here now.
Yeah, exactly. Get over here. No, we can't.
And when you started looking into running, did you have any previous knowledge on previous mayors or?
Not a whole heck of a lot. Mm-hmm. There was when I was running, there was no real debate set up or anything of that nature. So, I just kind of campaigned. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have a huge knowledge base about, what I was stepping into. And that's where I think it was more beneficial, because I didn't have the same factors influencing my decisions, my judgment, or anything of that nature that somebody else might have. Mm-hmm. So I came in fresh, and I wasn't overtly worried about, okay, well, this and this and this and this, And after the fact, I heard, plenty of rumor and conjecture and everything, but I'm somebody, when it comes to leading, the past is good to learn from, but ultimately you're starting from here and your goal is the future. Mm-hmm. So it didn't help to look at the past and say, well, I'm going to influence every decision based off the past. I'm going to, no, it was more important to make sure that I started off on a good foot And no matter where I leave off, whether I, run again, whether I get elected again, I leave off on a good foot. So whoever comes after me is going to be able to pick up those reins and keep, everything moving forward.
So you're talking about moving forward. Now, what are some of the ideas that you got going on right now? Or some of the stuff that you got in your agenda you're trying to focus on right now?
Right now, I'm trying to focus on fixing some of the issues that have been long running with the town. The roads are in pretty bad shape. There's potholes and everything like that. Now, we can fill some of those potholes, but that's a temporary fix.
Right.
And with as bad as a lot of these roads are, it's putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So it doesn't really stop the bleeding as much as we would like. So I'm working with our engineers on a lot of different things to, find a solid fix for the roads, which I can tell you it's going to cost roughly 1.5 to 2 million to redo a road. Okay. And we're not talking a whole strip of road. We're talking a side street for the most part. And that's going to be to tear it up and have the engineers work the whole plan. If we're lucky, we can dual trench because the water and the sewer lines are also another issue because they're very old. So we have to take care of that. Very similar with our wastewater treatment plant. That's been hobbling along for a good while. It's in need of a serious upgrade. But to do even a minor upgrade, we're talking upgrade, not anything of that nature. If we were to do preventative maintenance, that's about 2 million. Now to do an upgrade, working with the engineers, that's going to cost about 8 million. Okay. Now that's some serious money. And I know everybody likes to think, oh, well, you guys are a town, that's what you make. But our operating budget from property taxes, from sales tax, because we don't have as many businesses here as we would like and everything, our operating budget comes in at around 3.5 million. And that's to pay employees, pay contractors, get equipment, and everything like that. So once our operating budget is created and figured, at that point in time, if we're good, then we have maybe about 100,000 to carry into the next year or to have for contingency based on, whatever might come up that we haven't budgeted for. So it can be very, very tricky, when you've got that small amount of money, but you have all these different things that have to get fixed. Because if they're not addressed and they're not fixed, then it's going to be catastrophic. I mean, none of us really think about the water until it doesn't turn on, or if it starts coming out yellow or brown, or there's something else, and it's like, well, wait, why this? Why this? And it all boils down to it's been in disrepair and it's been band-aided. It's not even really much of a word, but it's been given Band-Aid solutions when it needs a massive overhaul.
So the water was one of the issues that the public has been pretty vocal about recently. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, for that one, we're again coming up with a plan so that way we can do more than just that Band-Aid solution. And of course, we can't go door to door and, hey, you want to contribute to $8 million? Because even if we hit every household here, I don't think we would. Yeah, unless we just have some really, really generous citizens sitting around. But ultimately, yeah. So we're thinking of, we have a plan. All right. I can even say we're out of the thinking stage. So we have a plan. Now all we have to do is condense it, get the numbers that are going to be feasible, take it to council, and then execute it. So
and you as a mayor, how do, because I know it can be frustrating for the people, right? Because the water's been something that's been an issue for them for a long time. I remember when I was in high school, they had been talking about, the water had this and this and that. how difficult is it to, you know, keep the public's trust? Because I know, you know, mayors in the past, they'd be like, hey, we're gonna do this, and then it wouldn't happen, and I know the public would be like, hey man, like it's, you know, how difficult is it for you to try and, you know, make sure the public's aware of everything that's going on, and, you know, trying to maintain their trust, I guess.
Not difficult at all for myself, because I operate off of the notion of transparency. I'll tell any citizen what I'm legally allowed to tell them, you know, and I'm not gonna. That's one of the reasons I don't divulge the idea that we have formulated right now, because if we can't get to that point, you know, I don't want somebody to say, well, that you were thinking of that, you know, and they stick to that. But I want to be able to speak to clear-cut, well-formulated ideas that we're, you know, putting into motion and everything. I don't want to throw out false hope. I don't want to say, hey, you know, I'm thinking about this, or yeah, we'll get to it, we'll work on it, but then it's never feasible. And rather than make myself look bad, then I'm just gonna hide it. It's like, oh well, I told him I'm gonna, but I'm not gonna. Let me put it back here, you know. And that's something I don't want to do.
Right.
So what I do is I take my time to ensure that I, you know, okay, what can I do? What is feasible? What's not going to, you know, impact the citizenry? You know, what's not going to make, you know, life far too difficult to live, you know? And yeah, I mean, if we, you know, were to raise our taxes to, you know, ungodly levels, yeah, okay. But, you know, or if we were to raise our water rates to, you know, I don't know, like even $1, you know, per gallon, you know, or $1 per gallon. I know it doesn't sound a whole heck of a lot, but when you actually start to extrapolate it, the average household uses anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 gallons of water. All right. So right now, you know, we charge, if I remember correctly, $3.75 for every 1,000 gallons. So, you know, so the water itself is 0.037 or 0.0037 of a cent per gallon, which is good. But, you know, if we started going higher than that, then, you know, it becomes problematic.
Right.
Now, El Paso, much easier for them because they have a wider range of people, and yet they're still raising prices 10% for the next 5 years. So they'll see, you know, El Paso residents are unfortunately going to see about a 50% increase in their water rates and everything. Now we could do the same here, but, you know, that's going to hurt a little bit because, yeah, you know, we're not as big as El Paso. We do face some socioeconomic challenges for a lot of our citizens. But one of those keys is how do we get around that, you know? Because we have to raise water rates to stay competitive, but how do we ensure that it doesn't impact the citizenry too much? So I developed a plan. It's a community-led effort, and it's the Anthony Community Assistance Program. We're trying it out, okay? It'll be on this next budgetary that comes up, if council approves and everything of that nature. But it'll be able to sustain, and I don't have the exact numbers, so, you know, my apologies on that. But citizens that are socioeconomically depressed or have limited income and financial means will be able to apply for the program, and it'll benefit, and they'll be able to use it to help pay a portion of their water bill. So that way, I mean, we can raise rates, but it gives us a little bit of time to also help, you know, citizens that are socioeconomically depressed or who are unlimited. And then we're also doing other programs. Hopefully at the end of October, we'll be having a business symposium. And that's we're going to bring in the small business department from El Paso. They're going to help us put it on. We're going to have people out there that specialize in writing business plans for anybody who's wanted to open a small business or anything like that. So these individuals will help with writing business plans. There should be some bank lenders out there that would say, okay, hey, give me a call. We'll go over your numbers or whatnot and everything of that nature. Because there's a wide variety of individuals here. If you even look at the farmers and artisans market, a lot of them are small businesses, but it's kind of difficult to navigate that small business world. You know, what paperwork do I need to fill out? How do I get a business loan? How do we do this, that, and the other? So we're trying to put that symposium in there so people can take their small business and actually grow it to their actual business. So, you know, we're trying to do a lot of these community-led and community-driven programs that are going to enrich the community itself. So that way we can take it out of that, you know, socioeconomically depressed area where people will come here and they look around and they're like, wow, this looks like Honduras. So, you know, things like that, which, you know, we don't want that because we don't want to look like a third world country. So that's, you know, that's something that we're trying to do.
Yeah. What's the time frame for these plans or proposals to, you know, from the start to finish? How long is that process?
That process really depends predominantly on myself, how well I formulate these, because I don't want to bring a half-baked idea before council. It's like, let's help people with their water bill. How? Let me get back to you. You know, I don't want to do that. So, especially since I have to figure out financially and fiscally, how is this going to be a possibility? So, with things like that, you know, that right there, I think took me about two months, two and a half months to flesh out fully. And that's, of course, on top of everything else that I'm trying to do and take care of, because I don't get the luxury of just sitting in an office and, you know, yes, I'm important. No, I don't. I don't have that. I have meetings. I have boards. I have, you know, the town employees. I have the council, and then I have trainings. And there's a lot that goes on. So for me, a lot of it is, okay, let me figure this out. And, you know, it's not something that you can just... I mean, some people might be able to, but, you know, come up with a really great idea and have it fully fleshed out, and, you know, in about the span of a week, you know. And now if I have nothing else to do, okay, great. But then I also have to run it by, you know, some others that are, you know, just as, or if not, you know, brighter than me in certain areas, you know, because I can be like, oh, okay, I have this perfectly well and good. But me, I enjoy, you know, running through ideas to make sure they're going to work, you know. So it's like, okay, how many people could this sustain? What's the reasonable increase? What kind of a burden would that put on the average household? So we'd have to make sure that it could cover that much. Otherwise, it's not going to be, you know, a useful program. Mm-hmm. Because if the average burden increases by $10, but then we're only supplementing $1, you know, they're still going to drown because of that $9. So, and that's where it gets tricky. So from start to finish, depending on the idea, you know, a good 2-3 months or so.
So we've talked about whenever the last time that we met up, we were talking about some of the ideas that you've had, some successful, some not successful, some were shot down. You know, in this day of age, AI is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Right? We see AI everywhere. We see it on even like our social media apps, everything. You had a really cool idea that you wanted to introduce. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, indeed. That was too emphatic, I know. I love talking about AI because it's just a fascinating facet. It's a tool. Mm-hmm. Now, we've all seen Terminator and whatnot, and we're afraid, oh no, artificial intelligence, it's going to take us over. And yeah, there is a learning curve, and there's growing pains, just like anything else with any new technology. For the longest time, it was the radio, and then TV came along, and people are like, oh no, what's it going to do? And, you know, and then back in my day, you guys are a little young for this, but, you know, computers were put into schools, and they're, yeah, I know, you're like, weren't they always? Yeah, that shows my age. I changed my pacemaker. No, so those sorts of things. And I mean, everybody was like, well, no, you know, if they put computers in, kids aren't going to learn because it's not books, and books are the right way to learn. And then the opposite side was like, no, I mean, they'll have all this information at their fingertips. I can tell you, I mean, when I was in school, I did not utilize computers to look up books and knowledge and everything at that point in time. I was concerned with playing Oregon Trail. I know.
Oregon Trail's a good game.
It is. You know, I usually, all my team died of dysentery half the time, but it's okay. But no, I mean, AI is the exact same way, and universities were so against AI for the longest time because you could plug in the parameters, have it write a paper for you. You could turn it in and, you know, is this your work? Sure. I typed in the parameters. That's my work, you know, and things like that. And having been a professor myself, I can tell you, we know when somebody uses AI, it's like, oh, okay, what is the term, you know, thusly, or, you know, mean? I was trying to pad it out. Okay, so we know when AI is being used, and there are things to identify AI now, but it is a tool. It is a tool that if we do not learn to utilize, we will get steamrolled by it, you know, because you can be afraid of it or you can utilize it to your benefit. And I was hopeful to utilize it. So I sought out, you know, an AI expert. We have, you know, hopefully we'll be doing it this budget. But last year, around budget time, I wanted to, you know, implement the AI so that way we could brand ourselves an AI first town. You know, using AI for municipality reason and everything. But it was Amarillo that beat us to it.
Damn Amarillo.
Yeah, I know. And they, you know, but they've been good because we've been able to, you know, kind of take what the lessons that they've learned and everything like that and whatnot from doing it first. And I just, I was fortunate enough to attend an event which was in El Paso, which was tacos and tequila. So it was all about generative.
Sounds fun.
It was all about generative AI. And I mean, very, very impressive in how it could be used in a municipality sense and things like that. So,
and what are some of the ways that it can be used?
Yeah. So to ask.
No, definitely easy.
How is it going to benefit the town of Anthony?
A lot of people have interesting thoughts and they want to know codes. They want to know what's the law, what's the regulation, what is allowed. Now, you guys can easily go to our local government code, or you can look up through Munibit, but those things are hundreds of page documents. And rather than just doing a word search for sidewalk, you know, which is going to come up with so many, you could easily now, the way our website is, because we revamped our website actually. If you
saw that, yeah, check that out.
We have a bit of generative AI in there, so you could type in a question, and it will parse your question, and it will pull up specifics on those codes, those laws, and everything else, and where to find them. So you could type in, you know, do I have to keep my sidewalk clean if it's, you know, public property? Which, you know, yes, you do.
No shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's common sense.
One would think. One would think. But, you know, common sense is a tricky one because you never really know if everybody's looking at the exact same thing. And that right there is the base definition of common sense because it's something everybody's looked at or known. Mm-hmm. But no, ultimately, so now that's one methodology that we have already in use on the website. Going in further to that, we can have, you know, an AI digital assistant, if you will, when you go on the website. And this digital assistant can be programmed with hundreds of different languages. So let's say that, you know, you just decide, I'm going to move to Anthony, Texas, and you grew up in Japan your whole life and you don't know English and you just want to know about the town. You can go to the town website. If you see the digital assistant, you can actually speak to it in Japanese and it will respond in Japanese and everything of that nature. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that we're looking to push out with this AI tool. So that way it makes it a little bit more inclusive for everybody. You know, then there's the ability to have it, you know, do permit searches or anything of that nature, you know, have the questions answered. So that way you don't necessarily have to rely on just a singular person, a human being there. You can ask. We're hoping to take a factor where you can maybe plug in your water bill. It's like, why is my bill so high? Or why is my bill this? Or, anything of that nature. It will analyze it, extrapolate it, and give you the reasoning behind it. So that way you don't have to maybe wait and call and listen to, somebody find your specific reason or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And is this something that's, I guess, been brought up to the community? Are they aware of these types of things that, these changes? Because I know, older generation, they're the ones that kind of give you that pushback, right? Because they're,
believe it or not, a lot of the older generation, there's less pushback from them because a lot of it makes it easier for them to utilize it. Because, I'm getting old. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting up there. But, if I have to go onto a computer and I have to, okay, let me look for this and then so on and so forth, it's like, well, I don't quite get that. But with the generative AI, you don't have to talk to a person that's going to frustrate you or you frustrate them because there's a misunderstanding. This is a simple, let me input a question and get my answer. If I need explanation, that's perfectly fine. It's happy to break it down in several different ways. But no, these are all things that, we've put out there as possibilities because again, these are things that, if the budget allows for it and everything, and council has, the ultimate approval on the budget. So, if they don't want it in there, they don't like it. If they're like, well, we don't see the benefit, then they can strike it down if they choose to.
As far as voting on the council, is it just the 5 and you included, or just depends on all them 5?
It's just the 5. I don't get a vote.
Okay.
So I can bring forth a plethora of X, Y, and Z, but I don't get to vote on it.
Is the council there as well for the 2 years that you're there, or is it different?
It's staggered, but they have 2-year terms and everything.
Okay.
So the council is there. Coming up in May, along with my election seat, is Council Seat 1 and Council Seat 2. And then Council Seat 3, 4, 5 are on a 2-year cycle. So
do they upgrade since 1 and 2 are up for?
No, they stay at their specific council seat.
There's no
no
level of council?
No, there's
musical
no
chairs.
No. There's no importance really placed on the number for
all equals.
Yep.
Okay.
That they are.
And for the town hall meetings, how often do you guys have the town hall meetings?
We have them roughly every 2 weeks. Our next one, we just had one last Monday. Our next one is going to be the 23rd of September.
Okay. And if someone doesn't attend these town hall meetings, can they find them through the website or anything like that?
Yes, they are streamed live. We have them on Facebook, on the town Facebook. They are posted on the town website afterwards. And then, of course, they're also, there's a simultaneous YouTube, if I remember correctly, where they're broadcast.
Do you get a significant turnout from the town?
Sometimes yes, but I mean, physically, no. We don't get very many individuals from the town, unless, of course, there's a hot button issue. Like, somebody wants to build a 5-story, condoplex somewhere, then everybody will come out and it's like, no, because nobody wants their view of the Franklins obstructed that badly, So that's about the only time we get a large turnout. Online, we do get a decent turnout where individuals will come and, they'll pop on and they'll watch, which is beneficial because wholeheartedly everybody should know what's going on in their town. And that's a big key because you want to know what's going on. You want to be informed. You don't just want to, be caught off guard, basically, if, you're driving one day and, hey, they're building a 5-story megaplex,
I was just surprised just by the Sonic that was popping up right here.
Yeah, that one was. But again, that's privatized business. That's not something that we're really, they can come in. If they own the land, they can come in and build on it.
So that's pretty much what that was. Nothing that you had to get an input or
Nope.
them
Nope.
reach out or you reach out to them?
No, the most they reach out is can we get permits to start building here and everything? And yeah, that's about it. But now, and that's the larger deal for it. Now, I would love to take credit for it, but I can't because, that's just not what it is.
Done before.
Yeah, that was something that they've owned that land for a good while, actually. And it's just now that they've started to, develop on it, which is good. But I can tell you from that economic development standpoint, there are a few outreaches that I've made and, gotten positive feedback on. So there's a lot of economic development that is coming, a lot of things that people really want to see and everything, and that will help us, grow a little bit. So, yeah.
So we did a poll on our Instagram page today because we went to the gym this morning. We saw the Sonic. I'm like, let's take a picture next to it and let's ask the people, our followers, what they would want to see. I got a Starbucks in there. I got a Chico's Tacos. That might have been me.
Might have. That was definitely you.
It was definitely me. So what are some of the new businesses or that you can talk about?
Oh, that really narrows the field because there's a lot of them, and they're all in varying stages. Some are pulling permits at this point, and some are, basically in the mid stages where CEOs are gauging the area, and then some are just preliminary talks.
Pretty much just having surveyors.
Yeah, just hey, we're
stuff.
kind of interested. What makes us want to come here? Yeah, and that I would love to be able to talk about all of them because it really is exciting. It really is, and I'm not gonna lie.
What do they rhyme with?
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's the thing. There's of course a couple of them that consign us to secrecy completely. So it's like, okay. And it's understandable, there's monetization aspects that they want to make sure that they can hold on to. But yeah, but I can tell you that there's big changes coming. So
do we have a big? Is that a clue? I don't know. We don't know.
I don't know.
Is there a time frame on when we can hear about this?
Hopefully, well, you should be, if you follow the town hall stuff, you should be hearing about one of them maybe in this next town hall meeting. After that, of course, it depends on the developer. Another one is pretty set. They're, basically ready to go with one of them. So that one should be popping up within the next month. And then there's a really big one that should be popping up here in the next 2 to 3 months.
Big Eight's coming back.
Big Eight's coming back.
No, this one's actually much bigger.
I feel like it's at the tip of your tongue. You just want to let it go.
Oh, I wish I could.
Just give us an exclusive, 8-town exclusive right here.
I really wish I could. But no, there's a lot. And, what I can tell you is that, we've been in talks, continued talks. I'll say continued talks because the developer who owns the land on the opposite side of I-10 there.
Behind Flying J and stuff.
Yes. So there's about close to 900 acres. So we've been in continued talks with that developer. And we're pretty close to putting everything together to where it'll we can begin construction there.
So how much further does Anthony go out that way that that would be considered still
pretty much to the base of the mountain almost? So
there's a lot of room that
well there's
a good
some
amount.
room. Yeah, there's some room that way, but again, that's also one of the factors to actually there's a whole lot of factors there that we can segue right into the home rule charter.
Okay. Yeah.
So that one, we have the charter committee right now, not this instant, but
We are the charter committee.
there you go. No, you guys had had I known, I definitely probably would have tapped on you guys to be on the charter committee. So it's always a good thing. But the charter committee right now is meeting, and they're basically, with the help of legal counsel, not reinventing the wheel, but putting all the aspects together to make us a city. All right. Now, once the charter is done, it's going to get mailed out to every resident in Anthony. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it'll be good to look at that. All right. Because that right there is going to be the charter. And I'll call it the town's charter. But then at that point, if we get through it quick enough, and we can get it on the November ballot. So that'll be something specific for us on the November ballot.
So here within like the next month and a half?
Yes. So you guys will all get that charter. Read through it, because those will be the rules that we will abide by as a city. We will no longer be a town. Right now we're a general law type A town. Okay? So in legal terms, that just means that we have to follow, Texas state law, period. That's it. Now, if we become a home rule city, then we're allowed to, we still have to follow Texas law. We don't get to change that. But we do get to make some of our own rules. We get that opportunity. And then we also get the chance to expand. Okay? So the town itself is, I always forget, but I think it's around 3 square miles or so in that aspect. But everybody's seen the development. Land is a hot commodity.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not going to stop. People are, here, I can tell you from the Central Appraisal District, we should have, in El Paso County, we should have a 6-month supply of houses. We have about a 1-month supply. So we're growing much faster than what we have the capacity to hold on to. So if any of you are going to invest in real estate, now's the time. But that right there is going to be the biggest key and one of the biggest factors, because right now, if we want to expand at all, we have to go to whatever butts up against our border and say, would you like to join us? We'd really like you to join us.
So are we invading Anthony, New Mexico? Is that what you're saying?
No, not yet.
Damn.
I know.
I was ready.
I was too. I was drafting a proposal, but since they legalized marijuana and they're pulling the revenue from that, unfortunately we can't compete. Now, I could have, because I did research it, and I was like, okay, could we redraw state lines? Now, if both governors agreed, it could be taken to Congress, and we could, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. As I said, we don't have enough going for us just yet. So,
Is there anything that you do to work with Anthony, New Mexico?
Yes, we do actually quite a bit. We were hoping to work with them with the Leap Year Festival that we put on. That was this year, which was fantastic. I'm not sure if any of you made it out.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful festival. But we had reached out to them to join us, but I guess they were busy or so. But yeah, we didn't hear anything from them, so we just put the festival on ourselves.
What were they busy doing? What?
I don't know, but they must have been busy. We went to their council. We were. And actually, it was around this time last year that we went to their council, and I remember because we went to the Texas Municipal League, and we're about to go again in October to Texas Municipal League again. But we waited, and we were online, and they keyed us in, and we told them, hey, yeah, we'd like you guys to join. You're our sister city, so on. But they said they would, think about it and take it under advisement. So, but we just,
weird.
We just didn't hear from them. So,
well. We don't like them either way, so.
We have streets on this side.
Yeah. No, they're not, overtly bad. They're a good town and everything, and they just have a different set of priorities, being a different state. I know, so it can be tricky.
So going kind of back to like the town becoming a city.
which we're gonna have to rebrand, by the way. If that happens.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
we're keeping the name Town of Anthony.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So-
okay. Cool. But going back to that, I guess would there be a bigger, I guess, like a more economical growth, you know, when it comes to being a city, right?
Yes. By becoming a city, we have a bit more say in developing and creating economic development commissions and committees and things of that nature. And if we do that, then of course, if we become a city, then we have an ETJ, which is just an extraterritorial jurisdiction, which, you know, allows us to branch a little bit. And then it's like, okay. And then you're allowed to, you know, annex. Now, I know it's harder. They made it harder due to 1 or 2 legislative sessions ago. They made it harder to annex land. But you're able to annex county land. And one of the key things that, you know, is in my vision is I would like to be able to offer those lands that are close to us, that are county lands or even, you know, right there, a reason to want to join us. So it's like, hey, you know, we can offer this, we can do this, we have this opportunity.
We have a really cool podcast.
Exactly. So we can definitely add that. You know, we can plug the business. So and it works out great because then we do have a means and a method to actually combat all that growth that's coming to us. So because if we don't grow, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what would happen, but I'll just go ahead and I'll spell it out nonetheless. So if we don't grow, we become the town that's roughly 3 square miles in diameter. Everything grows around us, basically becoming either El Paso or the county. And we would have to raise taxes and raise water rates ungodly high to be able to maintain with inflation, repairs, everything, maintenance and operation. And it would get to a tipping point where it wouldn't be feasible, right? You know, so if you're working a minimum wage job, why would you go out and shop for a $500,000 house?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that, and then when that tipping point comes, this isn't going to be Anthony anymore because whoever's around is basically going to be like, well, you're insolvent. You can't sustain yourselves. So dissolve, we absorb you. And that's basically what it becomes.
Yeah. And I mean, that seems very feasible because we've seen El Paso grow so much within the last couple of years.
Yep.
It just keeps getting closer and closer to this area.
And it's not going to stop anytime soon because, again, it goes back to the housing. You know, we're growing. People want to live here. And if there's a desire to live here, if somebody's got the time, somebody has the land and the money, well, I have 5 acres. Let me put, 10 houses on those 5 acres and everything. Everybody gets a half an acre. There you go. And then there you go. I'm going to go ahead and make my investment back just because I'm offering you a place to live. You can buy the house or you can rent it. And, just anybody who would be industrious could quite easily do it. And there are developers and they own the land in this area. And it would be very, very easy for them to, El Paso is paying top dollar for it. So let me go ahead and, sell it to them and then wash my hands of it. And then we don't have a say.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned the Leap Year Festival earlier, and I did get a chance to go. But before we jump into that, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you know a lot of random facts. Like, do you know how we came about becoming Leap Year Capital of the World?
Yes, I do. Marianne Brown, who I didn't have the pleasure of knowing, she was a Leap baby, and her friend was a Leap baby as well. And I know, I think it was 1986 or so. I'm trying to remember. They went and they petitioned the governor to, have Anthony, Texas and Anthony, New Mexico, labeled as the Leap Year Capital of the World. And of course it was taken before Congress and it was, okayed. So the two became, the leap year capital of the world because Marianne Brown and her friend. They were both born on, leap day. So, and now we're starting to get the word out a little bit more. It's a little bit more. We have a broader reach. I remember I was called up and interviewed before the Leap Festival. I was called up and interviewed by, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. I forgot the name of the magazine, but they're located in England. So.
Is that something you were not expecting?
I wasn't expecting that wide of a reach, and I really have to thank Rave Marketing. They were our marketing experts behind the Leap Year Festival. They did an amazing job on outreach and everything of that nature. So I was surprised myself by the turnout for it, and it was just such a huge event, and it was really nice, and I mean I loved it.
Do you guys have a number of how many people attended the event, more or less?
I know. I want to say, and I'm trying to think of the exact numbers, but they gave us a breakdown after the fact, and I think that breakdown is on the town website. But I know at a bare minimum there was 3,000, and then it ticks up from that point. But I don't remember how much.
Well, for it being the first, because we've done like leap year parades and stuff like that before previous years.
That's all I can ever recall.
Yeah, but I never thought about. I can't remember anything else. Whose idea was it for the festival, and how did all that go about?
We kind of had the idea for the festival between myself, the department heads, and council for having a festival, and it was a good thing. I mean, it worked out great. So we did our typical request for proposal. We put it out there for marketing and ad agencies and everything, and we narrowed them down, once they had all submitted proposals, and we decided to go with Rave based off of the scoring and qualifications. And I'm not going to lie, I was even skeptical myself. I was like, I have no idea how this is going to go because I've never, put on a festival before, and I've never been in charge of a company that has put on a festival. So
it's not even so much just like a festival. It's like, not for the town itself, but you have people from all over the country, the world, coming just for that one day or weekend or whatever.
Very much so.
That, I guess it gives you a little bit more of a challenge too.
Yep, and it was a huge moment of gravitas to realize that yes, people are going to be coming from out of town, overseas, because if we're the leap year capital of the world, people want to celebrate that one birthday they get every 4 years here. And we had a lot of leaplings, and that was fantastic. And we had an appreciation dinner for them at Rolling Smoke Barbecue.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And then, of course, the first day of the event, and then the second day of the event. And I mean, it was just a wonderful, a fantastic event. It really was.
Yeah, I can tell you, like, I went, I think I went the first day, and I thought it was cool. Like I said, being from here, we never have anything like that. So I took my dad out, took my niece, and we were out there, and we had a good time. Is this something that the town wants to continue to do?
Yes, I know this year we're planning a countdown festival and everything, so it's not going to be as large.
For New Year's Eve?
No.
Or countdown for what?
Countdown to the leap year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, no.
We're going to drop the ball here.
New Year's Eve sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
We're the New Year capital of the world, too. So we'll just go ahead and we'll trademark all that we can. So that way people have to come here.
Yeah.
No, really, but yeah, it's a countdown to the leap year. So we'll be having a festival, small festival leading up to that next 4-year festival, and then it'll be, a bigger festival. And hopefully by that time, more people will also know about it, because I walked around and I would talk to people even after the festival. I was like, hey, did you know, how did you go to the festival? Did you see it? I didn't know we had one here. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And that's something that we're really trying to get past, is the lack of knowledge that accompanies, the things that we're trying to put out for people. Because one thing that really, kind of gets me is that, I went up to the gas station the other day, and I popped in, and I remember because I bought a Gatorade and beef jerky, random things, right? That's about my lunch whenever I have meetings for the day. Have to eat on the go.
It's a champion's lunch.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, the broke college student lunch, ramen. Ramen was a good lunch, but yeah. But no, and the young lady behind the counter, she helped me, and it was a Friday. And it was this last Friday, and I asked her, hey, are you going to go down to the Twilight Harvest Market that we have? And we've been having these markets for a good while, and we've been promoting as best we can until the new budget comes in. But, she was like, is that in El Paso? And I was like, no, that's the one here. And then, I figured, she just works here. So I asked her, you don't live here, do you? And she was like, no, I do. I was like, okay, well, I feel even worse now. So, because if the town doesn't know, I feel as though I have failed in some way, shape, or form, because these are the events that I want them to enjoy. These are the events that, because those Twilight Harvest Festival markets are wonderful, wonderful little community events. I mean, the very first one that Miss Gracie had put on, which she's our marketing coordinator.
Shout out Gracie.
Oh yeah, she's here, right? No.
Sitting in the dark. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, the first one that she put on, it was around, I forget the month and whatnot, but it was beautiful. It was perfect. We had a little band out there that was playing guitar, and it was right at sunset. The weather was fantastic. It had a big turnout, and there were kids running around and playing. And honestly, I had to stop and just take it in, because it was such a nostalgic moment, and that return to what a community event should be.
Yeah.
And it was just fantastic. There were people out in their front yards listening to the music, and there were people shopping, and there were local vendors selling their wares and making a living and talking to who essentially are their neighbors that they really didn't know. It's like, oh, you did this. And I mean, I remember I bought a sun catcher and everything, and some personalized coasters and things of that nature. So, I mean, I went around and I honestly bought something from every vendor, just because all the vendors are fantastic. They really are. I always get a lemonade when I go out there, and I don't stop, and I pick up some homemade jerky. Of course, my youngest son loves the homemade jerky.
Yeah, jerky's good.
Oh my God, yeah, the lemon pepper, he just devours that. So that's where most of my money's going now.
Jerky ain't cheap.
Yeah, no, it's not. But now it's actually reasonably priced for how much it is. It's like, oh, thank God. But no, so I mean, that market alone was just such a fantastic one. And, Gracie's done an excellent job in, bringing themes to the markets. There was the 80s theme. There was the Aloha to Summer. I mean, there's so many different themes. And it's never boring. And we had a back to school one, and all the vendors pitched in. And, if you came to shop at their booth, you didn't even have to buy anything. If you just stopped by, they had, notebooks, pencils, everything for kids to go back to school.
That's awesome.
She arranged all of that, and it was fantastic. It really was. And these vendors have been, so integral and so supportive of everything that we're doing, because a lot of them are from here. So,
are you guys planning on having a Halloween theme one?
Yeah.
No, I see the head nod there. Like, of course.
I want to see, with that being said, like, do you feel like football season is back into play now? So Friday Night Lights, people are going to those town meetings. I mean, to the games, and maybe the market isn't as popular as what it is when it first started. Do you guys find a way to work around it? Like,
yes.
Switch days when it's like a Friday there's going to be a home game. That way vendors aren't wanting to like stop coming and continue to grow, like switch them over to a Saturday versus that Friday?
Yep, very much so. As a matter of fact, I know Miss Gracie has been excellent in staying in close communication with a lot of the vendors and, basically passing out surveys a lot of the time. Hey, would this be beneficial for you on a Saturday? Would it be beneficial during the morning or, on an evening in a Saturday? Because we also want to be mindful because for a lot of the vendors, this is their livelihood. So we don't want to pull them away from markets that they're already established at, and it's like, oh, okay. And one of the big ones is, the Upper Valley Farmers Market, which is Sunday. So, we try to be good neighbors. So it's like, no, we're not going to, do this on a Sunday morning when, there's that other market.
That.
And so, and they, like I said, God bless them. They've been good as well. And they've been very receptive and they give us honest and positive feedback. And so those are things that we have been looking at because Friday Night Lights, like you said, that does play a role. And we don't want people to have to choose, do I go to the game? Do I go to the market? Do I, what do I do? I feel conflicted. But, we want to make it basically an easier choice for everybody. So those are things that we've looked at.
And they're pretty great. Me and Sal went out to one of them a couple weeks ago. And yeah, it's nice. Like one of the biggest complaints that I hear from people from this area is always like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And you hear that from everybody. And this is something to do. And people need to understand is the more you support things like this, the better it's going to get. And then we can do other things, right?
Yep. And that's the big key. I mean, that's the lead up because if we have the markets, okay, and then we get the word out about the markets, then it grows, the market grows, and then awareness grows, and then we're able to do something larger such as these festivals. I want to have more than just a festival. I wouldn't mind having other festivals here that coincide. I wouldn't mind having other events here that coincide as well. But in order to make it worthwhile, we have to make sure that the word is out that, hey, guess what? Something's going on here. Now, to me, it boggles my mind how somebody could live here and not know about the leap year festival that was happening. But I heard that too. I heard a lot of people, I didn't know there was a festival that was going to happen or this or that or XYZ. And to me, that boggles my mind. It's like, you live here. There were just TV advertisements. There were posters. I personally went and, begged, some of the businesses to hang the posters up and everything. So, and it makes it tricky, and it's like, you drove by this main street and there's a big party and you didn't. So, but, if we can increase the awareness, if we can increase the support, we can increase the number of events and things to do that there are.
Yeah. And
Agreed.
And that is one of the things that I've wanted to do with this podcast. It didn't start off that way. It started off just us, being idiots in my room.
Just you two.
Just us two. Look at us now with the mayor of Anthony.
You had an air of Anthony. It's like I came in and I straightened you guys out.
but
Kinda.
But now we get to play a role in the community, and I like that. I find that almost even more rewarding that, we get to make an impact. We weren't as big as, we're not super big now, but when the Leap Year Festival came about, we did talk about it. But, next time when it comes around next year or the year after that, we'll be bigger and we'll be able to help out with that. But even with the Angel Fun event, we were able to do a lot of good things with that. And that's where I want to use this platform for stuff like that, to put a spotlight on the town, because at the end of the day, this is my town. I live here and I care about it. So whatever we can do to help out with that, we're here to help out. Definitely.
And, I cannot say that, thank you enough, because you guys, you have this platform. And I had the idea, what if we start a podcast for the town and this and that? And, I was, building that idea out for about 3 or 4 months. And then,
Beat you to it.
Yeah, I know. And I mentioned it to, the town clerk, Valerie, and she was like, oh, there is a podcast for the town. It's A-Town Talks. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So now I don't have to beat my head against the wall for that because, I was like, oh, we had to get the equipment and we'd have to set it up and we'd have to do this. And then, but I was extremely thankful that you guys had beat me to it. Thank goodness. Yeah. But no, and I mean, it's wonderful that you have this platform and that you want to use it for those beneficial things, because there's so many ways to just get information out there. And, you've got to be careful, because for every way that there is to get information, there's every way to get disinformation. So that's why I just love the fact that you guys utilize this as that stepping point for, hey, here's the information, here's what we have, here's what you should know. And I mean, I personally am honored to be here on your show.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been one hell of a month for us. It's been great, and I'm extremely grateful. And like I said, I want to keep doing more stuff like this. It's awesome. I even talked to Captain Lerma about partnering up with him next year if they do the Angel Fund again, and want to keep doing that because it was awesome. We were able to raise about $800 for our friend Rick.
That's just between
our booth,
our little booth.
Yeah, and was great, and that's not including all the vendors and people that were there, and that's awesome. And yeah, I want to keep doing more stuff like that.
No, and that's perfect. That is perfect, and I mean that's exactly, and not to pat you guys on the back too much.
No, go for it. Yeah.
We need it.
So, but no, I wish that everybody would kind of use this type of platform, for the greater good and everything, because there's a lot. That's okay. Yeah, no, tighten this off. Okay, there we go. Yeah. But no, there's a lot of individuals who would use a platform for less than advantageous reasons and everything, not so much for the town and everything of that nature. And the fact that you guys want to help the town and you put the information out there and it's beneficial, and it's like, hey, this is what we know, this is what we're learning, this is where it is. And I'll tell you, to your point, I wish I could go out and do the typical mayoral part of, playing golf with the DA, kissing babies and waving and things like that. But, exactly. But no, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done within the town, and it just doesn't happen all by itself. And, I dedicated myself entirely to the role, because when I got elected, I was working as an epidemiologist 3 for the state of Texas. So, then when I got elected and I saw how much there was to do in order to make the town grow, to make this town as great as it can be, I went ahead and I bowed out from the state, and then I focused on this solely.
So any upcoming projects that you got going on within the next year or so? What is your goal for the remaining of your term, and do you plan on running again?
I do hope to run again. I came in with a clear vision of growth, and I have no qualms about the growth that we've had already. We've put a lot of things into action, and it's been fantastic. We've seen so many more things. The Leap Year Festival was a huge indicator of that as well, because that was really when a lot of the economic growth started to come in, and it was like, hey, we're paying attention to you because we've seen you. You have a place that we might like to come into and everything. Some of the projects that I'm working on, if it does get passed, I would like to utilize AI within the municipality, things like that. I want to definitely focus on, animal services. We do have a bit of an animal control issue here in the town.
Send them to Iowa.
Yeah, I know. Springfield. Yeah. So
make a buffet over there.
Yeah, but I mean, we've we've had a really lackluster aspect for the services from the county that we're getting and everything. So we're focusing on having an animal services within the town itself and everything. So I mean, there is a dog, and I had heard rumor, but there is a dog here, and I saw it myself just the other day that knows how to use the crosswalk. He will use the crosswalk, and he just waits and right across the crosswalk. And I saw it on Wildcat, and I was okay. There you go.
Does he push the button and then
No, that'd be great.
Wait.
No, but he understands the concept of the crosswalk, and that's a good dog. I mean, it's great. I guess he's seen people do it enough. But if you have a stray dog out here that watches people enough to know how to use a crosswalk, then I think there's a bit of an issue that could be tackled there. So, but no, and that's one of the big things. That's another one that I'm working on. Really just focusing right now. My main focus is getting the appropriate funding and making sure the numbers match for a couple of projects. A, the wastewater is key. Mm-hmm. B, the park, the food truck park that we have. Yeah. That one's going to be a bit. Yeah, we have to break it up into phases, and phase 1, which will allow the food trucks to come in, which will again give the community more to do because it's a small, people love to gather and eat. And, nothing's better than when you have the opportunity. Yeah, I do as well. But nothing's better than when you get the opportunity to sit down with good food and good company, especially in your own community. And you can try out different foods from these different, food trucks. And these aren't roach coaches, okay? These are just very gourmet food trucks because they've been inspected by the city. They've been inspected by the state. They, have professional chefs working in them. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of food trucks that, we have eyed for that food truck park. So that one, that's going to be a bit costly to get the very first phase done. But since it's broken down into phases,
where would that be hosted at?
That's actually that park right off of Wildcat.
Okay, right across the school.
Yep, okay. Right across the school. Okay. So, if you guys remember being in high school, which you do, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So,
but yeah.
Man, not that long. But no, if you remember it, how awesome would it have been if you had. Let's just say, because I for capacity's sake, I think we have an idea for 14 trucks out there. But even if you had half of that, what if you were able to go out, leave campus, and have 7 different choices?
Even
for
with
food?
2, we would have been fine back then.
Yeah, exactly.
We used to go to Circle K and buy hot dogs or casares.
Walk down to the Little Caesars or whatever.
Yeah, see, exactly. So, and those are the things that I also want to bring in because you can't leave behind the younger generation, the upcoming, and it's like, if you have such limited food options, then it doesn't make it very helpful. And public health is one of my backgrounds, so I worry about food quagmires and food swamps to where the food that school individuals, I don't want to say children, but school individuals could get, I want to make sure that it's at least healthy enough. It has some sort of a bar to it. Mm-hmm. So, that's another one of the projects that I'm working on. So, yeah, the wastewater, the streets, economic development for sure, and the food truck park, which, is kind of in that economic development range.
Is that something that's going to be like, they're going to be there most of the day or just like certain days?
All day. Okay. Yep, they'll be there. They'll usually, the way we have it set so far is that they would be there on a monthly basis. They're able to up and go as they choose and everything, but they would stay there and they would be open, lunchtime and evening times. And then of course open later on the weekend. So that way if people wanted to go and, have a place. Don't drink and drive, but if you, if you have a few drinks and you're walking, Obviously to the food truck park, by all means, that would be a good one.
There'll be the
No
We can all
drinking
walk
and
from
driving.
Louis, man. We could all walk from Louis.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you just gotta watch the drinking and driving.
Yeah.
This guy's a sheriff over here. So
See, there
he
you
deals
go.
with that stuff all
that's
the
a
time.
good thing. See, so no drinking and driving. That's an important one. We have, we have law enforcement out in force. You're going to be out there, right?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm out there in Fabens.
Oh,
I have my
well,
DD right here.
as long as you have a designated driver or somebody
We'll,
to take you there.
we'll train one of the street dogs to drive us.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There's another idea.
There you go. That's okay. You know what? I feel bad. I'm going to share a story, and I feel dumb for doing so, but that's okay.
This is the spot to do it.
Yeah. We have a police dog. Really, really intelligent dog. She's a good dog. I think this one was, not to put the dog on the spot, but the dog is passed. So I think she was the Border Patrol school dropout dog, but that's okay. So, yeah, we get discount dogs. Now, she was a very good dog, very intelligent, but she was in the vehicle while the lieutenant had come in to file his paperwork, and then he was going to go back out. And I was out in the back in the fleet yard, and the dog was in there, just barking every now and then. But I would hear the horn honk every now and then. I was like, okay. And then the dog would bark, and then the horn, boom. And I was like, my God, that dog is smart enough to honk the horn. It's like, I want to get back on the beat. Let's go, LT. No, actually, I asked the chief about that, and he was like, no, that's just the sensor in the car to let us know if it's getting too hot. I was like, oh, well, I thought the dog was smart enough, but no, just proved that I was dumber than the dog.
You let that dog die.
Yeah, no. So that dog lived a wonderful, happy life, and she passed of natural causes and whatnot. But we had that was just that was me. I thought the dog had figured out how to honk the horn. No.
Speaking of Anthony law enforcement, you told us a story that you got tased by the police department.
Yes, actually, willingly. Because I myself am a front-facing leader. I'm a forward leader. I'm not going to ask any of my people to do something that I would not do myself. So when they had taser training coming up for recertification, I went through the class myself as well. And one of the requirements is to be tased. And I went ahead and I said, yes, if you guys have to be tased, I'm going to get tased as well, because I'm not going to, have you guys do it and then say, no, I'm not going to. No. So, and it was very inspiring because it was very touching nonetheless, because a lot of the female employees, not as many as the guys as I was expecting, but a lot of the female employees, they were like, oh, you're going to get tased? Okay, if you're going to get tased, I'll get tased. And they didn't even go through the class. They were just like, you know what, I'm going to do it because you're going to do it and everything. And the executive assistant to the PD, Miss Alita, she went ahead and did so. One of our town clerks at the time, one our clerks at the time, she did it, the Miss Raquel, just amazing. And then we did have, Danny, our support services specialist. He did so. Mr. Gavin, our codes enforcer, he went ahead and got tased as well. Miss Nancy, our dispatch young lady, one of our dispatch young ladies, she got tased. And I mean, when she got tased, she went first. I wanted to go first, so that way, if I screamed out and bloody murder and dropped to the floor convulsing, at least I set the example at that point. But she went first, Miss Nancy, and she took that tase like a champ. She just, and they laid her down, and not a sound. And then when it was done, she was ready to just pop back up. And I was like, dang, that's a hard act to follow. I've got my work cut out for me. So, but the chief himself tased me, which I'm pretty sure he enjoyed. Like, say no to my increase, would you? So, but no, he went ahead and he tased me, and it's a unique feeling. My back arced. I, went up on my tippy toes, and everything from mid back down I couldn't feel. And they lowered me to the ground, and it was all good. That's about like the longest 5 seconds of my life, right there. And it just woo. But as soon as it was done, I felt great until I heard Chief say recharge. And I was like, no.
So I heard about this story, and Booby being a sheriff. I asked him to bring his taser and see if he wanted to get tased again.
No, not right
just
now.
kidding, just kidding.
No, and it was a bad idea at the time because I should have changed shirts. I didn't change shirts. I had just bought a brand new shirt, and I was like, yeah okay. And no, but yeah, Chief shot me right in the backside, right there. Right.
As long as you didn't have to change pants, you're good.
Yeah, I know. And that was everything tightened up. It's like nope. So yeah.
And it's with the prongs?
Yep. They were just those wonderful ones. They were the Axon 7s, I believe.
What do you use?
The Taser 7.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like so I think they had another one before that. I know we did. And we changed over to the Taser 7 because it's supposed to be stronger. It has a bigger kick to it. Because I know a lot of the time when the prongs would shoot out, they weren't going through like thick clothing or anything like that. So the Taser 7 shoots it, a lot harder.
Yep.
And you feel that.
You do.
And I've been tased before with other tasers. And the Taser 7 was probably the worst. Because I know some of the other tasers, I felt like I could still move a little bit. Taser 7, I was just like, there's no moving in my body. It was just.
Yeah. And I feel your pain there. So. Yeah, we're Taser 7 brothers. There you go. We need to come up with a symbol. 7.
Yeah.
T7.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was a horrid experience. I never would want to be tased if I was a delinquent of the law, because there was just really, as he stated, there was no movement whatsoever that was voluntary movement. It was all involuntary. And I mean, I went on my tippy toes, my back arced, and but if they weren't there to lower me, it just would have been.
Do you think it would have made a difference if they shot you from the front?
Yeah, it definitely would have. It would have been a very, very painful experience.
You think you would have taken it a bit better though?
No,
like, knowing that you're kind of expecting it.
Oh no! I was expecting it because we have to call out. Yeah. Taser before you discharge it, and those prongs are about that long.
Yeah.
Okay, and they look, again, one of my backgrounds is medicine. They look like surgical scalpel tips. Mm-hmm. Okay, the case for the Taser 7 you use as a hook and pull to pull them out of the target. And it leaves a good mark. I'm not gonna lie, especially having been shot in the backside. It made it uncomfortable to sit for a little while. So I was like, "Ow!" But no, those things, they have a good kick to it. And I have seen in the training videos where they've discharged the Taser 7 on one individual who's running away and then turned and ran back. And he got him in the face, and I can only imagine that god awful
hangover.
I can only imagine that. At that point, it's like total disruption. Because
You got any funny Taser stories?
No, I mean I'll see if we can put up my video of the tasing on this episode. But
yeah,
I know the instructors would. How you're saying they have to call out taser. And usually right after that third taser is when, they go off. And so you're expecting it. And a lot of the time what they were doing was they would say taser, taser, taser. And you kind of flinch and they would just stay. And you're like, as soon as you turn around, boom. And it's just like, oh, okay, that was not cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's just one of those factors where it's like, at that point, you're getting tased anyway because you got to do it to go through the training. But now, if I was a ne'er-do-well of the law, I'd just, taser, okay. I'm good.
You need to get tased, man.
Let's do it, Raleigh. Me and you.
I've been tased before.
Yeah?
But with like the actual gun.
Oh no, let's do the prongs.
I'd be down.
Yeah, no, it's not something that hurts. But it's an experience you will never forget because, after the charge was done, because you get hit, I went down. And after that charge was done, it was like, okay, yeah, you feel alive. You feel that kick. But, you're like, okay, but of course, if you were on the wrong side of the law, then they recharge and there you go. Stay down. Nope. Okay. Yeah. So, but no, yeah.
I've heard people where they got to get tased in OC spray, and they say that the OC is worse than the tase.
OC is for sure worse. It is probably about 10 times worse.
Well, when I was in the Air Force, we had to go through the gas chamber. And of course, yeah, they used I forgot exactly the specific chemical compound, but it was horrible because they made us do push-ups and jumping jacks and running in place to get our heart rate up. And we're in full chem gear. So it's, airtight. So we're working up a sweat. And when you work up a sweat, all your pores open. And it's, they made us take our masks off, and we were in pairs of 2, and there were 4 pairs there. And we had to wait. And I was in the last grouping, and it was, each individual had to say their name, last 4 of their social, their rank, and I'm a danger to myself and others. And then they could leave, and then their partner had to say it. So I was sitting there for about a good, minute and a half, and then it gets to my partner's turn, and he's like, Johnson, 4566, and I'm because it's the same as pepper spray. It's just getting in everywhere in your lungs, and you're dying. And it felt good to rush outside, but that first rush of air, oh my God, that hurt because it burned so bad, and you've got mucus and tears and snot. It's just like, oh, alive. So yeah, no, that was horrible. But I think I'd still rather be tased as opposed to camped again.
Oh. How long were you in the Air Force for?
I was in for 8 years. Unique story about that since September 11th just passed. I was going to sign my enlistment papers September 11th in 2001. That was the day I was supposed to go and sign my enlistment papers at Holloman Air Force Base. But of course, unfortunate tragedy did strike. I had the TV on when I was getting ready to go down, and I saw what was going on. Having been an Army brat, military brat, I knew call the base and, double check in, make sure. And, I called up. He answered. I was like, base is closed, right? He's like, base is closed. We'll let you know when to come back. Okay. So I had to wait about a month. So I ended up actually signing my enlistment papers in October 15th. So, but yeah.
What was your job in the military?
My AFSC was 4NO, aerospace medicine.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. It was quite unique. It was just an overall experience, and that's what prompted me to finish up my bachelor's in biology, go to med school overseas, and everything. And
so you're gonna be a physician?
I already was. So it was good. I did practice a little bit in Belize and Barbados. Got back to the States. I didn't want to practice, unfortunately, because the red tape around all of it. Insurance companies have kind of sucked the life out of medicine. The reason I joined, I didn't join for the money and the sleepless nights and the, women and whatever other reasons guys join medicine for. But no, I did it because I wanted to help patients.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I also didn't want to be dictated by an insurance company of, hey, this is a business, nothing more. So you spend 2 minutes with a patient, treat them and treat them, and then move to your next one. And to get a complete picture of what might be wrong with somebody diagnostically in 2 minutes is hard. Patients will reveal so much more through simple conversation than if you go in, ask them direct questions, because white coat syndrome is real. The physician goes in, hey, okay, how's this? We're going to change your prescription to this. Is that good? Sure. But by that time they leave, then it's like, oh, well, I should have asked them about this. Oh, well.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. And so even though I didn't want to practice, I did get my surgical first license.
Oh,
so that way I could stay in surgery. But I also ended up getting my master's in public health and then my MBA following that. So,
Did you like being in surgery?
Oh yeah, I love it. I still have to, maintain surgical hours whenever I renew my.
Or you still
certification, my
keep it up
license.
to date?
Oh yeah, I have to. It's an important one for me. I love. It took me forever and a day to actually get my surgical first, because I was bouncing around thinking, well, what do I want to do, and then I was working as a professor, and professors, it's a funny afterthought in the academic world, but as an adjunct professor, you don't get paid a whole lot. You are basically a very knowledgeable indentured servant. So that's about all it is. So if you ever have professors that are adjunct professors, be nice. So yeah, it took a while for me to finish up and get my surgical first. So yeah.
If you ever need an assistant, Raleigh's your guy right here.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm a tech.
Oh nice. I love it then. There you go. How long?
Fairly new.
Oh really?
Yeah, I barely have what are we? 3-4 months?
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Congrats. Congrats. Nice. Where's your alma mater?
There at the hospital I work at.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like an internship I went through to skip the whole school.
Oh, really?
So it was like all on the job training.
Good. Nice. That's good. That's even
better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's even better. There's some practical application to learning it through schooling and everything, but a lot of the times you'll learn, well,
most everything that I've really stuck has been while on the job.
exactly. So a lot of what you learn in school is that you're not going to learn what you need in school.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, so that's why I say that's a beautiful one right there. So that's perfect. All right, well, I might need you at that point. The last surgical case I was on was a plastics case. It was a breast augmentation, actually. And plastics is not even my specialty. I'm more adept at neurosurgery, so urologics. But yeah, the last one I just needed to get in my hours.
Sure.
Because I renewed about a year ago, and I was like, I need hours. So yeah, but I gotta step on that. I gotta get back into a few more. So.
Sweet. Well, if you need an assistant right there, you need a sheriff over here, and then I'll hold a camera or something.
Hey, that works. Yeah. That works. That's a wonderful. They did it for cops. Why not surgeons? Surgeons. Aside from the fact that most people would probably pass out seeing half of the stuff that we do. How's your suture technique?
Oh, I don't suture.
No. Oh, okay. Well, we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, when I was going through and everything, I actually bought pig's feet from the market, and I would, practice on that.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of dogs out here.
There you go.
Go out to the horizon and get some more, man.
There you go. I don't know if that lowers the value, though, if we're going to send them to Springfield. Start taking out livers and other organs.
Prep them.
Yeah, there you go. That's meal prepping for you. So.
Oh shit.
So, no, indeed.
Well, I think that's about all that we got. Any final words, Mr. Mayor? Anything you want to leave us with? Anything the town should know? Where to follow you? Where to get information? All that stuff. All
the information that you guys would definitely need is on the town Facebook, on the town website. We also have a town app. Mm-hmm. If you haven't downloaded it, it's Go Anthony, Go Town Anthony. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember here, and I'm trying to because I've downloaded it myself because it's a very useful app.
Can I pay my water bill there?
Yes, actually, you can.
Cool.
There's a lot that you can do there. There we go. It's Anthony Town. It's powered by GoGov. And you can see that, I'll show the camera here and everything, but yeah. So, and it's just a very useful app and everything of that nature.
It's called Anthony Town?
Yeah. And you know what? I have if you go to the town website, it has it right there to download it.
Yeah, I'll link it up on the screen so people can download it. Also, make sure you guys follow Exit Zero on Instagram. to keep you guys posted on all of our markets and other stuff going on here on town.
Very much so. And, parting words, definitely, have pride in your town. This is a wonderful town. And I don't say that just because it was named after me. No. I just say that this town has a lot more character. It has a lot more class, a lot more potential than what most people give it credit for. And that's usually, either when lightning strikes or it just fizzles. And if you have pride in your town, when everybody else says no, when that lightning strikes, you're just going to feel that same energy. You're going to get that charge. You're going to feel that glow, because that right there, and lightning is poised to strike. We've seen so many great things happen. And now with all the, new economic development that's going to be, coming up, it's big. So,
Big 8.
No. Bigger than 8, I'll tell you that. But no, so there's so much that's just going to happen. And, guys, believe in it. And if there are things that you want to see, hold on to that and tell us. By all means, you can always call Town Hall. I'm willing to sit down and talk with anybody. If you have questions, I'll answer them to the fullest of my ability. And because I want everybody to be informed and knowledgeable. So always ask questions, guys.
Cool. Well, you were willing to sit down and talk with us, and thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome. Booby, Raleigh, any last words from you guys?
It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate having you here, and I'm sure a lot of the people from Anthony are gonna really enjoy listening to what you have to say, and so thank you for coming out. It was great. It was an honor to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great thing. So perfect.
Cool. Well, this wraps this episode, guys. Leave some comments and feedback. I'm sure the mayor will read them. So post them on there. Go ahead and follow us, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See you.